Hello everyone, my name is Craig Adler. I am a retired certified financial planner. I am also sometimes known as the Angry Financial Planner. I am angry because we have made personal finance far too complicated. I have started this channel to address that concern. If you are on this journey with me, please support the channel by subscribing. Today what we are going to look at is which is the best financial service firm to have an account with for a new investor. Is it Vanguard? Is it Fidelity? Or is it Schwab? Let me start by saying if you have narrowed down your choices to those three firms, congratulations. They are all outstanding firms and you really cannot make a bad choice. What I'm going to be doing though is trying to help a new investor determine what might be best for them. To do that, we need to set up certain criteria. So the first criteria is I am going to assume that your primary goal as a new investor is to achieve financial security. And to do that, we are going to use mutual funds. I believe mutual funds are the best vehicle not only for new investors, but experienced investors as well. We will be using mutual funds, but I am not going to be looking at exchange traded funds. We are going to be using traditional mutual funds, and here is the reason why. As a new investor and an experienced one as well, we want to automate this process as much as possible. So as an example, if you want to add $100 to your account every month, you need to set up something that's called an automatic investment plan. We can only do that with traditional mutual funds and not exchange traded funds. The second reason I am going to be excluding exchange traded funds is this. The big advantage of an exchange traded fund is it allows you complete flexibility with respect to trading. It allows you to trade far more efficiently and effectively than a traditional mutual fund. The problem with that though is trading is far more harmful than helpful. So I want to discourage that behavior as much as possible, and that is another reason I am going to be excluding exchange traded funds, even though I will mention them briefly during this video. Now that we have that out of the way, the first thing that a novice or new investor would want to do in most cases if they are trying to achieve the goal of financial security is to start with what is called a core portfolio. A core portfolio is also sometimes called a 3 investment or a lazy man's portfolio. It is made up of a total US stock market fund, a total international stock market fund, and a total bond market fund. So the first criteria that we are going to use to determine is Schwab, Vanguard, or Fidelity the best choice for a new investor, we are going to look at how easy is it to create that core portfolio. At Vanguard and at Fidelity, it is incredibly easy. Both of those firms offer total US, total international, and total bond market index funds. At Schwab, there's one concern. The Schwab International Index Fund is not a total international fund. It is developed markets only. Is that a huge concern? No. Is that going to prevent you from reaching your financial goals? Absolutely not. At the same time, I do believe in broad-based, highly diversified portfolios, and for that reason, I would absolutely include emerging markets in my international exposure. At Schwab, that would require an additional step. That solution could be easily delivered with an exchange-traded fund. The problem is that will slightly increase the complexity of the portfolio, and it will also eliminate some of that automation advantage we were talking about earlier. So for that reason, Fidelity and Vanguard tie for first place with respect to being able to create a core portfolio. Schwab comes in third place, and here is how we would score those results. The second thing we want to look at is fund minimums. Most likely as a new investor, we are not going to have a ton of money. At both Schwab and Fidelity, you can purchase their index mutual funds with a $1 minimum. At Vanguard, to achieve the lowest cost, that requires $3,000. So with respect to minimums, Fidelity and Schwab tie for first place. Vanguard comes in last place. So here's how we would score that category. The third thing we want to look at is if we do decide at some point in the future that we would like to expand our portfolio, and I'm not saying this is necessarily the best thing to do, but if we want this option, here is the way I would score that category. Both Fidelity and Vanguard offer at least 25 other indexed mutual funds. Schwab has far fewer. So for that reason, Fidelity and Vanguard tie for first place. Schwab comes in last place, so here is how I would score that category. The next category we want to look at is cost. With respect to cost, we are looking at the expenses associated with these index funds. All of these firms today offer such incredibly low cost investments. I would essentially call this a tie, but the reality is if I strictly grade this, Fidelity has the lowest cost index funds. Schwab came in second place and Vanguard in third. But what I want you to know is this: for every $10,000 that you have invested, the best option, Fidelity, would cost you about $3.50 per year. At Vanguard, it would be $7 per year. So once again, the difference here is negligible, but to be strict with our grading, Fidelity had the lowest cost, Schwab came in second, and Vanguard came in third. The final category that I would like to look at is a subjective one, and that is just the level of service that you can expect when you reach out to these firms. In the past, Vanguard always has had outstanding customer service, but I can tell you that has changed. It takes much longer to connect with an employee when you do contact them. Also, I have found that the employees today are not as knowledgeable as they have been in the past. Not only that, Vanguard is the only firm of the three that does not offer branch office support if you do need that face-to-face assistance that many of us might want, if not now, at some point in the future. So here is what happens when we add up all of these categories and all of these scores. Fidelity came in at 13 points in first place, Schwab in second, and Vanguard in third. Let me just summarize the reason for these results. Fidelity either came in first place or tied for first place in every single category. And in my opinion, these are the important ones. It's very easy at Fidelity to create that core portfolio. They have incredibly low minimums, so all of us can begin purchasing our investments immediately. We're not going to have to save up any additional money. And if we do want to expand our portfolio, Fidelity allows us to do that. Fidelity has hit all the critical criteria and has scored incredibly well. At Schwab, which is also an excellent firm, where they kind of struggled with respect to this evaluation, they do not have a total international index fund. That hurt their score. Also, if you do decide to expand your portfolio, they have the fewest additional options to make that a possibility. Where Vanguard struggled is, one, most of their funds have much higher minimums, and for a new investor, that might be a hurdle that you cannot get over. And then the other thing is, they have struggled recently with respect to customer service. Let me end my video this way. All three firms are great. You are not going to make a bad decision with Schwab, Vanguard, or Fidelity. Also, I used certain criteria, and that was your primary goal is to achieve financial security and that you want to do it through mutual funds. You might have other reasons for opening up an account, but let me tell you, the ones that I identified in this video, they are probably the most important. I know some of you might want to go out there and start trading and making investments in individual stocks. CNBC is going to tell you that's the best thing that you can do, but let me tell you from experience, it's probably the worst decision that you can make. In the comment section, let me know, did you find this video helpful or what questions or concerns might you have? I will get back to as many of those comments as quickly as I possibly can. And remember, when it comes to our money, it is always better to be educated than angry.